not going to double drop?
No, I can't tonight, unfortunately.
She's going to get tucked away, and then she's got her 7:30 performance at Mardi Gras.
Pam, maybe you can organise a flatbed for Natalie.
Sorry?
Have you got a flatbed up in first for Natalie? She can have a little lie down before she performs.
She's going to have a lie down in first class. I'm going to ruffle the duvet. We've got a lovely fisted chicken. And we've got a lovely dessert tonight. It's a lovely dessert. It's a rimmed chocolate starfish mousse. Have you had that? Have you had one of those? Yum! Yum! Well, we're going to finish off our souvlaki. There you go. Have one of those. Eat something. Eat. Look, food.
Don't
he
stop her
takes
too
it.
much of food, Pam. She might get a stitch when she performs.
I'm getting rammed by Natalie.
Thanks, guys.
Dirty girl.
Well, we're back at the parade now, and I'm pretty sure this is the black group again. This is the Indigenous group. People from a whole range of Indigenous cultures, and they say when all the colours come together, the colour is black. And we're thrilled to see them. And hello to you. Welcome to our Aboriginal and Indigenous gay and lesbian brothers and sisters in a rather magnificent
How sensational. Look at that.
That would be a traditional car.
It would be a traditional car. And you know what? It's so incredible that they're actually in this show, the Indigenous people.
It's fantastic. Here we are now with one of the next groups coming up. I think that might be 2010. Oh no, we're still with the Indigenous group, the black group. Okay, well let's go back to the street. What's happening down there, guys?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I've been holding back tears like the biggest nerve, but I don't think I've ever been so proud to be gay. And I really have been holding back tears. It's quite emotional.
That's fantastic, isn't it? For me, I've been doing it so long, it doesn't really, so many years. But for you, it's your first night. It's great. We've had some fun. We had Matthew Mitchum. We had the Aboriginal float go past our Indigenous Australians, which was just fantastic. So it's really exciting down here.
Oh, it's really sweet, Ruby, to see you quite emotional.
Yeah, be proud, you gorgeous thing.
Can I just say, behind Mitzi at the moment and Ruby is 2010, which is a service for young people who often have trouble with their family and get thrown out of home. And so that crying is appropriate because this is a service that has stopped a whole lot of people crying. So welcome to 2010 and thank you for your work for many years in the gay and lesbian community. Now, this is the Queen's capital, Canberra.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one, Canberra.
And I think, as I understand it, the Australian Federal Police are supporting this group. They're based in Canberra, of course, and they have gay and lesbian liaison officers in the Australian Federal Police. And I've been welcome emceed events for them. So welcome to everyone. There they are, the Australian Federal Police marching with the Canberra group.
Fantastic.
I honestly believe, Alex, we are one of the few countries in the world, possibly the only one, where our police forces march on a night like this to build relationships.
Isn't it true that there's actually gay and lesbian police officers that can actually deal with gay and lesbians who feel more, I suppose, more comfortable speaking with them?
You got it, gay and lesbian liaison officers, that's right, in both the state and the federal police. So welcome to all the police who are watching tonight and also marching on the streets.
And of course we do feel also very emotional about that because thinking of where the origins have come from of this parade and now they're with us.
Now this group is recognising the work of the firefighters in the recent tragic Victorian fires. And it's the beginning of a series of groups from the police, the State Emergency Service, the Rural Fire Brigade, but particularly this group is recognising what's happened in Victoria. So a special hello to everyone watching in country Victoria tonight.
And I mean, even though the theme is, the nation's united, I think everybody we were all united in grief about the terrible tragedy in Victoria. And so I think this is a nod, not only to the wonderful people and the brave people of Victoria, but to all the people who have helped. I think the whole world will be watching this.
And united in helping them, like getting over a tragedy.
And, for me, this is also a sign of the maturity of the gay and lesbian community, that we're recognising other communities as part of ours. This is actually sponsored by Lesbians on the Loose, a lesbian magazine that many of us read, and they wanted to use their space to recognise what's happening with the fire brigade. So it's sort of communities linking up with each other, and it's exciting. You can see the theme of rebuilding for the Victorians.
Yeah.
And welcome to the firefighters, looking beautiful in a big red truck.
they're getting such an amazing cheer from the crowd.
Do you know how amazing this must be? I mean, you were talking about being one of the 78ers that, you know, 30-odd years down the track, that there's this sort of acceptance where, you know, the fire brigade, the police force, you know, there are banks involved, and they, you know, I mean,
it's
acceptance.
It's fantastic because it's a recognition of their own staff who are gay and lesbian or whose family are, but it's also obviously a building a bridge to the gay and lesbian community. I like Ruby Rose, I feel quite emotional too. I mean, it's amazing that this happens. Even 31 years later, it still seems extraordinary.
I mean, it's not that long ago in reality. Do you know, when you sort of look at it, it's sort of not that long.
No, it's not that long at all. You know, I have a feeling, I'm watching as we look at our firefighters and our emergency personnel, I think Miss Wagga Wagga, which is a country town in New South Wales, should be appearing soon, and I'd ask your help in spotting them when they arrive.
Well, just before we spot Miss Wagga Wagga, we're going to go straight back up to that first-class lounge. And what's going on up there with your chicken and your beef and your fish there, Pam Ann?
Oh, it's fashion. It's getting raunchy. We're doing designs. I've got a very special guest here from Project Runway. It's Henry Roth.
This is amazing, Panna. First of all, you look resplendent. Emergency exits at the before and the act. Sydney sizzles and Mardi Gras. This is unbelievable. I've been to New York Mardi Gras, I've been to London, I've been to Wagga. This absolutely takes the cake. The atmosphere is sizzling.
You can see the atmosphere coming out of his pores right now. Don't jump. Don't jump, Henry. I've got to strap him in. I've got to strap him in.
The bottom line is...
He's getting crazy.
This is an amazing night where it's about equality, it's about passion.
I've got to strap him in. I got to sit down. Sit down. I've got to strap him in.
Pam, darling, Henry tends to get very excited. He may need to be restrained.
Sit down, Henry. Where's that chewing gum?
Straddle me. Listen,
straddle me.
I have to make one very serious point. Your sequence outdo everybody else, and thank God for the A380 because it accommodates your hairdo. Fantastic. Do you feel the vibe out there?
I'm peaking.
You're peaking, me too.
I feel like my sequins are going to change colour on their own.
Oh my God.
That's how I feel.
What's your favourite float so far? What are you loving?
Well, you know, you can't beat the firemen, can you?
I look at them. I love the yellow. It's just so today's colour. It's unbelievable.
I just pretend to have emergencies just so I get the fire brigade to my plane.
Good luck, darling.
Henry Roth, back to you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Pam Ann. That was fantastic. And down on the street, you can see we've got more of the fire brigade. We've got the state emergency service and the state transit system. Now, I have to reveal to you that I have a heavy vehicle driver's licence, and I used to drive a bus here in New South Wales for state transit. So this is very, very important because, like many gay women, I love to drive a very big thing. And I still and the Defence Force. Now, the Defence Force are still relatively new to the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, and we have Defence Force personnel and also those who work for a special gay and lesbian advisory service for defence personnel, and they now have equal rights for their family. I mean, it's just, again, Alex, an amazing change that's happened.
You could actually head up like Dykes on heavy-duty motor vehicles float, or like a cotilla of floats.
Can I just say, while the Defence Forces are being represented in front of us now, that the Defence Forces rely very heavily on volunteer participation. The Navy, for example, have a naval reserve, and they welcome the participation of people in full-time jobs, gay or straight, as part-time workers for the Defence Force, and that's also one of the reasons they're keen to raise their profile.
Marching with the Defence Force. Why are you marching?
Because I am proud. I'm out and proud.
Isn't it fantastic? Is it your first time?
It's my first time. I love the Navy and I love Australia.
It's fantastic. We've got the Defence Force. Who else have we got marching? You marching?
I am marching.
And why?
Because I'm proud to be in the Defence Force.
It's fantastic. It's great to have the Defence Force here. Have a great Mardi Gras!
You know what? I think it's just wonderful in the Defence Force of the equal rights for the families. It is so important that they do such an important job for our country. that that they're treated as equals, and in their ranks. And it's so important for their families. It's just such a huge step, leaps and bounds.
And look at that image of the pink gay and lesbian Australian flag up against the actual Australian flag. That's an amazing image. I can remember when the very first Defence Personnel March, there were literally 3 people. So this is an example how 31 years later, Mardi Gras is still growing. It's still reaching out to new parts of the community and inviting them in.
And here come, I'm sorry, this is my absolute favourite, the police are about to start marching. Yes.
This, of course, is the most popular group. Other than the parents and friends of lesbian and gays, this group get the most claps because this
why wouldn't they, Julie? I mean, you think of the origins this Mardi Gras has, and we were just talking about the original 70s, for them to now proudly support that community and march and be so happy to be marching. It is just fabulous.
It is amazing, and I think we are still the only state where the police service are allowed to march in uniform. So they have official support from the senior police personnel, from the Commissioner to march here today, and we're incredibly grateful for that, and we welcome
and the crowds are absolutely roaring for them.
It is, it's exciting. When you think that when Mardi Gras began, homosexuality was still a criminal act, and indeed it was until 1984 here in New South Wales.
Wow.
Still illegal till 1984.
And now it is criminal not to march. It's so much fun. And hear the crowd supporting them.
And we welcome the lifesavers now. I think this is their 3rd year that they're marching. These are real lifesavers.
There's a few Aussie bums there.
There's a girl lifesaver having a little moment with herself.
She looks fabulous.
Oh, well, it's a great time. They're a bit shark-free and they can shimmy on up the street. Oh, look at that oiled body. Nice work.
It's funny that it's taken, all these years for them to become part of Mardi Gras because they are ideally suited. Would you agree, Alex?
Perfect attire. They've had the outfits for ages.
With all that talk of shark attacks in Sydney, haven't been sort of
hearing?
going too hard in the ocean.
He's fluttering.
You haven't really been going for your early morning dips, considering the recent spate of old shark attacks.
I don't want to have anything slipped off.
If you have to take a look at this group of gay girls and boys who will help, these are the lifesavers with pride.
Everyone should be standing together. We all sort of live under the same sky, and that our differences really are not that great.
Life-saving is for everyone. Like I said, it doesn't matter about your sexuality or your nationality or your culture.
I have been doing the gym 4 days a week, so it's just to make sure I don't have love handles hanging over the top of my Speedos. But
I've been hitting the gym pretty hard because everyone likes to be fit and look good, especially when you're wearing a Speedo down Oxford Street.
Goes a long way, I suppose, to winning the sexiest float.
All the guys are hot bodies.
Maybe it's because they're all wearing Speedos.
Choreographer this year is Angela Kennedy. She's done the last 2 parades with us.
My dance steps and moves, pretty crap. But I'll get through it.
There's a lot of hip shaking going on this year.
I have been guilty of using the pickup line, hey, I'm a lifesaver.
No, it does get mentioned sometimes, but no.
No, I've never used it as a pickup line, but maybe I will now.
So teeny red Speedos.
I heard that the waistband, thank God, is a bit wider, otherwise it would be too small.
Something involving flags and not much else.
Being gay is only a very small part of it, and really it has nothing to do with being a lifesaver.
I think we wear the swimmers better, but no.
No.